Hi, and welcome to this live reading from Thief, Popov Bratva, number 4, by Leslie Georgeson, and this is presented by Itsy Bitsy Book Bits. Chapter 1, Dominic. The customer is always right. Wrong. Whoever had come up with that saying didn't have any negotiation skills. I'd never let a potential customer walk away without closing on a deal. I could manipulate any customer into believing he'd come out on top, flatter him till he felt good about himself and his purchase, and who went away thinking his haggling had gotten him the best deal. Confidence, intelligence, quick wit. That was all me. I could appear detached while paying close attention to body language. The client never knew when he got bamboozled by my charm and persuasion. That was what made me a good negotiator. Some might call that people skills. Others called it social intelligence. I called it paying attention. My name is Dominic Popov, and I negotiate car deals for the Bratva. I currently stood with my younger cousin, Ephraim, and several of our soldiers, while our potential customer, a young gangster named Alonzo, and 3 of his thugs, inspected the modified Range Rover that sat all primped and ready in the spacious garage. I sized up the young hoodlums with their shifty eyes, taking in their indecently low-slung dickies that barely gripped their hips, the black bandanas tied around their heads, the high-top tennis shoes, and the loose-fitting black tees with explicit language across the front that most people would find offensive. None of the kids were any older than 20 or 21, and they all gave off a cocky, untouchable air that annoyed me. They thought they were badasses because they ran in a gang in L.A., that they were invincible. But I could snuff these little punks out faster than they could blink. But that wasn't why we were here. I was negotiating a deal for the car, not starting a war with a gang. I didn't care who the customer was. I didn't have to like or respect him. My job was simply to close on the deal. Alonzo, with his swaggering 5'8", skinny as a beanpole build, walked around the car, checking out the 21-inch premium wheels, the fresh, sparkly paint job, the lift system that extended the vehicle's height by 12 inches, the rotating light bar that trailed along the edge of the frame and lit up the vehicle from underneath. It was a punk stream, and we aimed to please. He then opened the passenger's side door and peered inside, whistling softly as he checked out the leather interior, the heated and cooled automatic seats, the dash with the multiple selections on the touchscreen. He tapped the screen, and the stereo came on, the bass thumping as he turned it up loud and selected a rap song. I held back a wince as the blaring music rattled the garage and everything in it, nearly deafening me. These kids liked tearing their eardrums, and like I said, we aimed to please, so our crew had installed power-guzzling, bass-booming, low-frequency subwoofers in the back, knowing Alonzo wouldn't be able to resist. Finally, the gangster turned the music off and slid back out of the car, grinning wide. Sweet. Time to stroke his ego. You'll look like a total badass in it. A car like this commands respect, commands attention. People will look up to you. Some will fear you. Chicks will chase after you, eager to ride your dick. Just think of all the parties you can throw with the panoramic sunroof open, the music thumping, chicks rubbing all over you. I trailed off as his gaze lit with excitement. Hook, line, sinker. Cha-ching. How much? He demanded. How much you offering? I countered. Let the customer make the first offer. It gave them a sense of control. He hesitated, then spun around and waved at one of his goons. How much is a modified car like this worth, Juan? Juan, an ugly punk with a pockmarked face and a goatee, stepped forward, looked the car over, then glanced at me with a calculating gleam in his eye that screamed crook from a mile away. 50 grand. I snorted. Nice try, kid. I've got that much in modifications. I didn't, but I doubted he knew that. He was just a punk. This car retails at over $100,000, and that's before all the modifications we added. If you're going to lowball me, then get the fuck out. I've got plenty of people willing to pay what it's worth. I waved toward the door and started to turn away as if I was serious about ending this. Whoa, back up, dude. We're not lowballing you. Alonzo sent Juan a glare before turning back to me. 90 grand. Did the punk not hear me? I said it retailed at over 100 grand. He was still trying to lowball me. I kept moving toward the door. You're insulting my crew and all the time they spent modifying the car. It has a fresh VIN, clear title, no way to trace it back to the original owner. If you're not going to take this seriously, then get out. You're wasting my time. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Alonzo raced after me, snagging my arm. In a flash, guns appeared on both sides, my crew rushing to protect me, and Alonzo's crew raising their weapons in defense. Dudes! Alonzo growled, turning to glare at his men. Lower your fucking weapons. Slowly, his thugs complied, and my men followed suit. Alonzo cleared his throat. Okay, sorry, man. How about 120? I kept my face expressionless as I slowly turned to face him. Sucker. I pretended to think about it for a moment. Dude, think of all the hot chicks you can bang in it. Eyes will follow you wherever you drive. People will envy you. 150 grand, cash, and it's yours. Tonight. His eyes went wide. He exchanged a glance with Juan. 130, he shot back, shifting excitedly on his feet, the anticipation of closing the deal sparkling in his eyes. We'd put around 15 grand into the car's modifications, but we'd stolen the vehicle, so we weren't losing out if I let it go for 130. We'd still make a hefty profit. Wanting Alonzo to go away happy and thinking he was negotiating me down to the best deal, I let out a sigh and pretended to think about it again. 140. His eyes flashed. He glanced at Juan again. 135. Keeping a straight face, I tapped my chin and cocked my head, pretending to consider it. Then I announced, You've got yourself a deal, kid. Alonzo whooped and waved Juan closer. Yes, fucking A! Pay the man and let's get out of here. Juan stepped toward me with a bag full of cash. As long as the money was real, I didn't care how he'd obtained it. I motioned two of my soldiers forward and told them to count it and verify its legitimacy. Once we confirmed the money was real and all there, I shook hands with a grinning Alonzo. Enjoy your new car. And don't forget to send your friends my way. We've got plenty of others for sale, too. He nodded eagerly. Thanks, man. He snagged the key fob I tossed to him. Moments later, they were driving off with their modified Range Rover, the loud thumping of the subwoofers echoing down the alley after them. Another satisfied customer. And we were approximately 120 grand richer. So why didn't I feel as good about this as I should? Ephraim fist bumped me. That was awesome, cuz. You played them like a fiddle. I always get a kick out of watching you in action. I shrugged, handing him the bag of cash. Just doing my job. F would take the money to his papa, my uncle Alexei, who was the Bratva's Dursado Upchaka, or bookkeeper. Alexei had ways of hiding money or laundering, so it couldn't be traced back to its original source. See you at home, F. You too. Ephraim got into the back of one of the Bratva's SUVs with the money. Two of our boyviks, or soldiers, went with him, one behind the wheel, the other in the passenger seat. We had protection wherever we went, and we each had our favorite soldiers who accompanied us everywhere. Though, on occasion, we were known to drive by ourselves. Once Ephraim left with the money, our shop foreman, Mishka, a skinny blonde guy in his mid-40s, stepped forward with a grin on his face. Great deal, boss. You made that little shit think buying that car would turn him into Al Capone. He chuckled. I smirked. Thanks. I think I'm in the mood for another car hunt. Got anything special on the list? He perked up. I believe I do. And seeing as you're the best car thief around, let's get you out there while you're raring to go. Let me check out orders and I'll be right back. He whirled around and hurried into the small office across the garage. I'd heisted my first car when I was 18, a 1969 Chevy Corvette, which we'd sold for over $200,000. Since then, I'd snagged numerous cars, the most lucrative being a Lamborghini Veneo, a sleek beauty we'd turned around and sold for $4 million. In more than 10 years of car thievery, I'd never been caught. The shop crew still hovered around, grinning and talking excitedly about the deal. Get back to work, guys. Great job on the car, by the way. You'll all receive your bonuses. I motioned them back to their jobs, and they all turned away with smiles on their faces. While our Bratva-owned mechanics shop was a legal business, most of the activities we did here weren't. Auto theft was a lucrative part of the Popov Bratva. After stealing automobiles, we tore them apart, filed off VINs, replaced computers, reset mileages, then pieced them back together, reshaped and repainted them, assigned a new VIN, and resold them. We also modified vehicles to suit the current trends and our customers' needs. Sometimes we got requests for certain makes and models of cars with custom remodeling orders. My twin Lev and I had spent a lot of time in the garage as kids, following the mechanics and auto body repair guys around and learning everything we could from them. As a result, I'd developed an appreciation for expensive cars, especially sports cars. My grandfather's ties with some of the city officials here in LA kept us off the cops' radar. As long as we maintained a low profile and didn't harm anyone in our activities, no one bothered us. Lev and I usually stole cars together, but now that my twin was in a serious relationship with a woman, I didn't see him much anymore. He'd left the Bratva to pursue a music career last year. My brother was amazingly talented, and I wished him the best. He'd already signed a deal with a major record label and was in the process of recording several songs. Lev and I used to be as close as any twins, but he now spent more time with Sienna and her young son Nico than he did with me. He'd even moved out of the Popov mansion and into a place of his own with Sienna. While I didn't begrudge him for his happiness, I felt a little lost without him. Twin connections ran deep. We used to be inseparable. Not anymore. Things were changing around here after losing Mom last year and then Lev moving out. It was time I accepted that and moved on, but fuck, it wasn't easy. Lately, I'd felt as if there was something missing from my life, like I needed something more, though I couldn't identify what. I didn't feel challenged anymore. I didn't feel satisfied. I felt truly alone for the first time in my life. I should feel stoked after tonight's deal, but I felt strangely numb. I blew out a breath. Get a grip, man. I didn't need Lev to steal a car. I never had. I was the best car thief around. I shoved a hand into my messy hair, disrupting the shaggy locks that flopped forward over my brow. I'd gone too long without a trim and was now starting to look like a sheepdog. To add to my unkempt appearance, my jaw was also lined with thick stubble. It had been weeks since I'd last shaved, maybe even months. This wasn't me at all. I always paid special attention to my appearance, primping and manscaping before I left the house. I'd been a man horse ever since I discovered what my dick was for, yet I hadn't even hooked up since before Mom died a year ago. Christ, it had been that long? I'd never gone this long without getting laid before. But lately I'd lost interest and couldn't even work up enough energy or enthusiasm to go in search of a hookup. A therapist might tell me I was suffering from grief and depression after losing Mom and possible resentment after Lev deserted me, but I refused to acknowledge that. I was just struggling to adjust is all, trying to figure out why I was so unsatisfied these days. I would get over it. Change happened. Life went on. But shit, I tugged at my shaggy hair again. I really needed a haircut and a shave. Maybe a raunchy hookup with a hot chick to celebrate the deal tonight. But first, this thief was going on another heist. There was nothing like the thrill of a steal to put me in a good mood. I hadn't stolen any vehicles since Lev and I had snagged that Ferrari SF90 Stradale last year, the same night Lev had met Sienna. Let it go, dude. He's happy. Be happy for him. Sienna's a great girl, and Nico's cute as shit. I sighed, letting go of my messy hair. I really needed to pick me up. Mishka returned, announcing with a smile. We got an order yesterday for something sleek and fast, something sexy. Something sleek and fast, something sexy. I'm on it. I'll have you a new vehicle before dawn. Mishka's eyes filled with anticipation. Can't wait, boss. Good luck out there. I turned away, lifting my hand in a wave, then shoved open the side door that opened out into the alleyway. My ride, a sleek black Escalade, was parked in the shadows near the opposite building. Adric behind the wheel and Timothy in this passenger seat. My most loyal and trustworthy Boyoviks, and they'd been waiting out here for me to complete the deal. The sun had gone down a while ago, with night settling in. I scanned the dark alley for danger, and finding no threats, I strode toward the Escalade. The hunt was on.